Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Regular meeting Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 10 a.m. All three supervisors are in Globe. We will have our invocation by Pastor Garrissey from the First Baptist Church in Payson. But first, if Mr. Holman could lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your mercy and grace. And Father, we thank you that you've given us a beautiful place to live in. We thank you for the snow and the moisture. But most importantly, Father, we thank you for your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, the water of life. Now, Father, we thank you for his sacrifice at Calvary. And Lord, I pray that we would look to you. And Father, that we would long to please you in everything we do. Father, give these men wisdom in the fear of God. Lord, we love you in Jesus' name. Amen. Take care.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will start out the day on agenda item 2, presentation. Presentation of the 1/31/2021 Gila County physical data as it compares to the fiscal year 2021 Gila County budget and fiscal year 2020 year-to-date performance. Marion Billings, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, member supervisors. It's always a little intimidating to get up here and be the first one after the invocation. But this is our monthly report for where we are year-to-date at the end of January. You've seen this show before. So year-to-date, we would expect to be at 58%. And we are just above 58% in our year-to-date revenues at 58.31%. And this is for general fund. So that's right where we would expect to be for our 7-month target. The top 5 revenue items experiencing an increase compared to last year at this time are property taxes. And we did include a note this month that is due to increases in centrally assessed values, so that it's clear to our constituents that we are not increasing their tax bill. Non-business licenses and permits, auto lieu tax, state shared sales tax, and miscellaneous. The miscellaneous category, and we have talked about this in our past meetings, is made up of unusual transactions beyond the usual $250,000 for the EORP circuit breaker that we would expect in that line item. In addition to the line items that we have talked about in past months, which included things like a WE-TIP reimbursement from Freeport-McMoran and Secretary of State payments for the presidential preference election. We also, in the month of January, received a $187,000 reimbursement for county long-term care, which created the jump in that revenue category. We do have some revenue categories experiencing a decrease compared to where we were last year at 131. Our investment income is down a little bit with $46,000 less this year. Federal PILT is down, and that's only because we received that class action lawsuit money last year. Ordinarily, we would get our large PILT payment in June. Our charges for service for public safety are down a little bit. That's just a timing thing. The same thing with the intergovernmental agreements and state grants. As far as general fund expenditures go, including the encumbrances, which are expenses that are incurred but not realized, we are at 48.53% of the budget and $950,000 below where we were last year. So your net impact of those two is that we have brought in more money and spent less money to the tune of $3 million compared to a year ago. And we do have the monthly bar charts available as an attachment also. Those just give visual representation of this information. And I'd be happy to go over those briefly here. For this month, you did not ask for it. If you don't like it, I can certainly take it back off. But now that we have been presenting this data for a couple years now, we wanted to give you as the supervisors and our constituents and department heads a multi-year comparison here. So you're accustomed to seeing that first blue line, which is the 100% budget. The red bar is where we are year-to-date actual. The lime green bar next to that is our 7-month target. The purple bar to the right of that is where we were actually a year ago. And then that new bar, the 5th bar this month, shows where we were 2 years ago. So that you actually have, a basis for comparison. And you can see, for example, even though salaries and EREs this year are lower than where we were a year ago, they are right where we were 2 years ago. That way you can see some actual trend data. And then over in our operating expenses, even though total expenses are below budget for the 7-month period, you can see our operating expenses are bumped up a little bit. And that is due to the encumbrances in the finance system for what they call dependency representation. It's for children who are, for one reason or another, removed from their parents' home, and the county has an obligation to provide legal representation for them, and that whole contract hits as an expense at the beginning of the year, and then it gets parsed out throughout the year. So there'll be an adjustment at year end that trues it up, but it hits all at once, and that's why that red item, or the red bar in the operating expenses and encumbrances, looks a little higher than where you would expect it to be. And I checked with John Barrup. There's really no way to predict how those cases go or how many children get removed from their parents' homes. Those used to be called CPS cases back in the old parlance. So we did talk to him and make sure that there was nothing out of the ordinary there. It was just that the instance of cases in this fiscal year are higher than last year. That's all I have, gentlemen. If you have any questions, I would be happy to address them.
Supervisor Christensen, any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. No need to be nervous. I'm probably more nervous than you.
But when you get up and follow Jesus, it's hard. there is nothing that
It's not hard to
prepares
follow
you.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what you're supposed to
Let me help you with that.
Right? I mean, none of us can compare.
Okay.
Okay, Supervisor Klein, do you have no?
Okay, I'm just still trying to, educate myself
Yes, of
and
course.
this and that. So I know what PILT is, but why would we be below last year on federal PILT money? I mean, how does that come in? Why?
So last year was really strange. There had been a time when Gila County and other counties entered into a class action lawsuit against the federal government for non-payment of PILT. And last year we got a payment toward that back payment.
A catch-up.
So when the system looks at it, the system says, oh, hey, you got this money in the first half of the year, when we would ordinarily expect it's like $3.8 million that comes in June. Okay. So it just looks different compared to last year. We have no reason to expect we won't get the full $3.8 million in June.
Okay, that explains it. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you'd like, I can add a footnote to these monthly notes that would help that. That way you have that information.
If you wish, otherwise I'll just ask the question. It's okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Mayor, I'm good, but thank
Okay.
you for putting all this together.
It's
Appreciate
our
it.
pleasure.
And I just want to say thank you.
Okay. And
Have
does the 3-year comparison of data, does that help, or does it just add more information?
It kind of helps me see a direction and
Okay.
compares to where we were.
I
Yeah.
would say the same thing, too. It's good to see it.
Okay, we'll keep that there. And then the budget book for 2021 did finally go to the printer. So hopefully by the time we do the next presentation, we will have those for you, and you will be able to see last year's versions of these all in print and available for you to keep in your offices as, you know, a record so that you know exactly where we were each month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 3, public hearing. Information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 21-03-01 to name a road in Concord area of northern Gila County as Southern Chamberlain Ranch Road. Mr. Holman, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Early on in the COVID, some of the data looks a little bit older. Back in March, when we went to our remote working environment, this sort of got dropped a little bit by the wayside. The residents of this community, comprising 17 separate properties, wishes to have a named road rather than having their addresses assigned off Concord. Our typical threshold is 3 or more properties. You know, below three or below, we consider it a driveway. So, but with 17 properties, it makes sense for 911 emergency response purposes to give the road a name and rather than assign it off Concord. So, this is what we have, and be willing to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is in my district, I think.
Yes, sir.
And I'm familiar with the area, so just a couple questions. So will they have to change their postal address?
Yeah, there
Okay.
are currently 6 addresses assigned. Those will have address changes associated with them. The balance of the parcels are vacant land, so they currently do not have addresses assigned.
Any complaints from the residents to the change?
No, this was at their request.
Okay, all right.
100%.
Okay.
They sent it to us in the form of petition with signatures already completed.
Okay, great, thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Tom, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions. So I will open it to the public. Do we have any public up in Payson?
No, sir.
I see no public here in Globe. So I will close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 21-03-01.
And I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion was passed unanimous.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much. Moving on to number 4, regular agenda item. A, information, discussion, action to approve distribution of Source Rural School and Communities Fund, force fees, of Gila County share of the fiscal year 2021 Secure Rural Schools Act funds as authorized through Section 24 of PL 114-10 for fiscal year 2021, from 2020 to 2021, using the same percentage split as last year. Roads 2.16%, schools 77.92%, and Gila County Education Services Agency 19.92%. And we have Roy Sandvol and Nick Montague. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Morning, Chairman Humphrey and board members Klein and Christensen. We're just here to have you approve the distribution percentage since we don't know the amount yet, and it is exactly the same percentage-wise as last year. Do you have any questions?
Supervisor Christensen, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. So you're keeping it the same as last year, and because it worked fine last year?
Yes, what we're actually doing and working with the finance department, we need to get the funding deposited within 3 days of receiving it. So if we have you approve the percentage, the day we receive it is the day the schools can get the money, and we stay in compliance.
We never know exactly how much it's going to be.
Okay.
So just for your information, because these guys, they know. Sure. The original formula for this was not just percentage. It's based on your average daily membership. It's based on the acreage of Forest Service land in each district and so forth. So it's, and then it's also based on a baseline so that even some districts that have absolutely no Forest Service land still get something, right? So we really try to make an equitable formula for Gila County, and that's the basis. So it doesn't look, that's kind of almost looks arbitrary. So then we have run that for a number of years, but this year to get it in early, we just said, all right, what does this translate into just straight ahead percentages? And that's why they're kind of odd, but it's a very equitable formula. Now, I will clarify one other thing just for you, Mr. Christensen, is the Educational Service Agency takes 19.92%. Why so much? Because we run a very robust adult education program in all parts of the county that includes GED testing, and it also includes literacy instruction, and it also includes Pearson testing. And I will mention that really nobody, schools, K-12, I'm saying that they don't care about GED people. They care about K-12, and they should, right? So somebody has got to care about the people out there that are trying to get their, adults that are trying to get their GED, and that's us, okay? And I would also mention that our Pearson testing and our GED testing center, we kept it open during COVID, and it was recognized. We had people coming from all over the Southwest and, in fact, the West Coast to take Pearson testing, whether it's a realtor test or whether it was for their paramedic test, and the GEDs, because other places were closed, and we had the means and the people to keep it open. And so to fund that has been a real public service, not to the GED people and the instruction relative to that, but also to many people in the communities that need to test for something. So just kind of a little FYI there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
That's all I have.
Okay, Supervisor Klein, did you have questions?
Yeah. So Roy, on that GED testing and that part of it,
Yeah.
how many folks have we helped in Gila County?
My gosh. I don't have a number, but hundreds. And
tests this week.
okay, yeah, this week we have 14 tests. In fact, I've had to get extra staff members certified to give the GED test, just because there's such an overwhelming response from all parts of the county, and we do recruit all over. And you'll appreciate this, Mr. Christensen, because you know him. Dennis Perch is my bird dog, right? He finds people in the community, and if you know him, he'll walk right up to McDonald's and go, "Hey, do you have your GED?" He funnels them in. We do the instruction, and then he and Joe Perone up in Payson give the test. So, Mr. Klein, I'm not sure, but hundreds of people.
You know, ever since I've been in this position and we've had that going, it's always been on my mind just exactly what the stats were and what the numbers look like. I know we're helping people. I know it's a good thing, but I'll bet you, we'd be really, really surprised at the numbers, how high they are.
Yeah,
So,
I'll try and get them for you. In fact, I will. I'll get them for you, and I'll just I can give them to you privately, or I can send them to all of you. But like Nick said, 14 just randomly this week. 14 people.
that's a good deal. So,
Yeah, I think it is. Gives people a second chance.
absolutely. Thank you, Roy.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation and the information that wasn't on our deal here. Thank you very much.
Too much.
No, we're always, the thing of it is we have a good story. We just don't often get a chance to tell it. So thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving along to 4B.
You ready for a motion?
Oh, well, we better ask a motion. Yeah, okay. I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to move to distribute the Secure Rural Schools and Communities Funds, force fees of Gila County's share of the fiscal year 2021 Secure Rural Schools Act funds as follows. Roads 2.16%, schools 77.92%, and Gila County Education Services Agency 19.92%.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Having a first and second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, now I will move on. Thank you. Regular agenda item 4B, information, discussion, action to approve Cooperative Law Enforcement Agreement number 21-LE-1131200-038, replacing agreement number 16-LE-110312000-004 between Gila County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service in the amount of $74,800 for the performance period of January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Matthew Binney. Up
Good
there.
morning, Chairman, members of the board. It's Sarah White up here.
Okay, Sarah, thank you.
No problem. Matthew Binney, our undersheriff, got called out last night at 1:30, so in the morning. So I'm going to pinch hit for him today.
Okay,
But
well, thank you.
I'm sure he'll be before you soon. I am here. Thank you for this time to present this. This is just the replacement agreement that we've had a long-standing agreement with the Forest Service to provide enforcement services on their federal lands. So this is just a continuation of what we've done in years past. For the $74,800, and this will run for the year of 2021. I can take any questions you have, and Sheriff Shepard is here as well.
Thank you. Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good. Thank you, Sheriff.
And I have no questions at all, and thank you very much for your presentation. And on that, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Cooperative Law Enforcement Agreement number 21-LE-1103-1200-38.
And I'll second that.
Having a motion and second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Passes unanimous. Okay, then we go to regular agenda item 4C, information, discussion, action to approve professional service contract number 022221, final PS and E plans, specifications, and estimates to Tunnel Creek Bridge with Kimney Horn and Associates to develop final plans and specifications for the Tunnel Creek Bridge project in the amount of $175,538. We have Steve Sanders and Homero. It looks like we lost Steve. So Homero, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Chairman Humphrey and board members. Steve needed to take care of some personal business, and I'm filling in for him. Actually, Steve did all the work, and working with some of his team members, I think we have a good plan here moving forward. Just wanted to share with you that this board item is being submitted because when the build team, Steve Sanders, ADOT, and Federal Highways, got together to look at the sequencing of events during the construction of the Tonto Bridge, they found that the migratory bird breeding season and the clearing and grubbing as they anticipated doing would be in conflict with each other and in conflict with what NEPA requires. So what they set about is finding an alternative path that moves this project forward as quickly as they can. And this is what we're trying to do with this board item. So the county received a 2020 bill grant. We know that. And in doing that, we need to update the plan specifications and estimates for the bridge. One final time, we need a final plan, final specs, and an estimate. And that work should be done by Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn is the engineer of record. They've been retained by Gila County over the years since 2009 when we started this project, and they need to do this kind of work for us. one of the things that they discovered is that in the build, not discovered, they were following the build grant policies, and it requires you to do phase one, which is plan specs and estimates as phase one, and then phase two would be the construction. And in getting these grant agreements, they're very time consuming. So they determined that they would follow a different process, and that is to put a white paper together, which essentially the white paper does, it changes the scope of work, both in cost and scope. And so the white paper then said, let's do the plan, spec, and estimate work with Kimley-Horn ahead of time. And it's going to cost $175,000.
538.
538 is the cost for that, and so they determined that they would pay for 175,000 of that with as part of the contract, and in doing that, they get around having to initiate 2 grant proposals. So what they have now is a new schedule. The schedule that they have now is to advertise on November 2021. They would open bids December 2021, which is this year. They would award the work early in January 2022, pre-con meeting in February, and they would do the clearing and grubbing in March of 2022, whereas the breeding season for those migratory birds starts May through October, basically. And so they would avoid doing the clearing and grubbing. And they would finish the clearing and grubbing before the migratory bird season, breeding season starts, and start the construction. Construction is not prohibited. It's a conservative measure under NEPA during the migratory bird season, so they wouldn't have to wait. So they're just doing this to make sure that we can move as quickly as we can. That schedule is very aggressive, by the way. It doesn't allow for any time contingencies. The team is working very expeditiously. Federal Highways is the one that proposed the idea of the white paper. ADOT is on board. Steve is working in IGA with ADOT right now and working on the grant agreement with ADOT and Federal Highways. That's the work that now can take place under the normal schedules of the bill grant. So the conclusion is that in order to meet the schedule developed by the bill team, it is necessary to hire Kimley-Horn and Associates to complete the final plan specs and an estimate package for the Tonto Creek Bridge project. And it's the recommendation of the Public Works Department to approve professional services contract number 02-2221 for the final PS&E for Tonto Creek Bridge with Kimley-Horn and Associates to develop those final plans and specs for the bridge. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you for that presentation, Homero. This $175,000 is coming from where then? Did you say something about it being embedded in a contract?
Okay. The local share for the county for this bridge project is originally $3 million. So we're going to take $175,000 of our money, and instead of contributing $3 million to the local share, we're going to contribute $2,825,000, and that's the difference. So in total, we're only contributing $3 million. As it turns out, we're contributing $175,000 now, and we'll be contributing $2,825,000 later. Okay. So in total, it's $3 million. Actually, the cost of the bridge doesn't change. It's just where we contribute our sum total of the local share. Part of it is now under the white paper process, and the rest of it is during the grant agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Homer, to start with, I think I've got this right. We're looking at March of 22 to actually start work in that.
Correct.
Okay. And I understand the $175,538. Question I had was in the years past, the county, when they purchased like the approaches on both sides of that bridge and whatever other work was done, that doesn't go in towards any of the contributing side for us as a county.
No, it does not. That work, the purchase of the right-of-ways, something over $300,000 was work done before the grant was awarded.
Okay,
And therefore, it doesn't count as our local share.
okay.
It-
So,
It was included actually in the cost of the bridge in total. If you look at the numbers, you'll find that it's there. It's just not a part of our local share.
okay. And so the 175,000, is that coming out of general fund or HERF dollars?
That's HERF dollars.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Homer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have no questions other than thank you very much. It's great to see this moving forward. It's been an awful long time. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And so I will call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion to approve the professional services contract number 022221.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Passes unanimous. Okay, moving on to D. Information, discussion, action to authorize the chairman to sign a quitclaim deed to quitclaim property to Jeffrey Allen McClure and Kimberly K. McClure for that road described in Doc 631, page 875 and 876, Gila County Records, Gila County, Arizona. Homero, you're up again.
Thank you. This board item and the next one and the next board item that I'll be presenting are interrelated. And if the board finds it appropriate to approve this item, then we can move on to the next one. Again, this is a work that Steve Sanders has done. He's put a lot of time and effort into this, as well as Scott Warren, our surveyor, and Jeff Dalton has also worked on this one. It's a team effort, and of course the McClures. They have worked with us on trying to make this happen. And so if I were to read Steve's very well-written board items or follow his script, I can do a lot better than trying to just tell you everything that's on my mind. So I'll follow his notes a little bit better this time. Okay, the subject is to exchange a quit-claim deed for a roadway easement, and in this particular item that we're presenting at this point in time, it's the authorization to sign a quitclaim deed to quitclaim a parcel of land being used as a public roadway to the current owner. And the background for this item is that in 1984, Harry and Iva Aitken quitclaimed a parcel of land being used as a public road to the public and Gila County. This was done back in 1984. Gila County never formally accepted the quitclaim, nor did the assessor show the roadway parcel as being owned by Gila County. The roadway parcel is 50 feet wide and approximately 615 feet long. The current property owner has approached the county about the possibility of the county quitclaiming the roadway parcel back to him in an exchange, or to them, in an exchange for an easement for the same roadway that is 24 feet long. Staff supports this suggestion. What I didn't mention is that the property owners have been paying taxes on this parcel of land all throughout since 1984, even though it had been quitclaimed to the county. So in looking at this, we feel 24 feet is an adequate width of roadway easement for ingress-egress in this area. Actually, 50 feet is excessive. Many other road easements in the area are the same width, and the property owners will still have a dedicated access to their property. They will continue to enjoy that access. Quitclaiming the original property and roadway to the current owner in exchange for a 24 feet wide easement over the same road should not negatively impact anyone. The community continues to enjoy the road, and the recommendation is to quitclaim the roadway parcel described in docket 631, pages 875 and 876, Gila County Records, to the current owners Jeffrey Allen McClure and Kimberly K. McClure. That's the action that we're looking for, and we ask for your approval.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christensen, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I don't have any questions. I've been in part of this when it started. The one thing I will comment on is that this goes all the way back to 84. And what keeps going through my mind is how many more of these hidden little secrets do we have out there waiting for us to find too, you know? So I really want to thank everybody that's involved to pull this together and work it all out, and we can get it straightened out and done. So I really appreciate it. And it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, I like to see these things caught up as well. The thing of it is the maintenance then becomes that of the McClures.
Actually, the next board item proposes
Okay.
to accept the easement and to include this as
Okay, as a
road.
primitive road. Okay, good enough. All right. Then I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the chairman to sign a quit claim deed to quit claim property to Jeffrey Allen McClure and Kimberly K. McClure as presented.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Passes unanimous. Okay, Homero, then we go to E, information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 21-03-03, accepting an easement for Granny Jones Lane in Young, Arizona, establishing the road as a primitive road, accepting it into the Gila County Primitive Road System, and authorizing the execution of the primitive road easement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're talking about the resolution now that the chairman just read and that motion. And the background is the same as before, so I'm not going to repeat the background. The evaluation is similar as before. It's a 24-foot wide easement that we feel is ample and appropriate for this area. And in addition, as we've talked about, the road will be maintained as a county primitive road. So our conclusion to this that given that we've offered to quit claim for the property, that we should accept the easement and provide the maintenance as described in the primitive road policy, which will consist of grading the road a few times a year. Oftentimes it is once a year. And providing maintenance for this road will not reduce the services that we offer for our other roads in our county maintained system. And so with that, we recommend that the board adopt the resolution accepting that easement for a portion of East Granny Jones Lane and authorizing it as a primitive road.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christensen, questions?
Mr. Chairman, no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, Mr. Chair, and I'll have a motion when you're ready.
And I'm good as well, so I will accept your motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to adopt resolution number 21-03-03.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Passes unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Moving on to F, information, discussion, and action to approve a lease agreement between Hazardol 3 LLC and the Gila County Health Department at a cost of $2,500 per month plus applicable taxes to lease office space at 600 North Beeline Highway in Payson that will be used for a COVID-19 testing site and office space for Health Department contact tracing staff. Mr. O'Driscoll.
Good morning.
You're in
Mr.
Payson this
Chair,
morning.
members of the board. This request is to provide additional space for our staff that we have had to hire on through the COVID pandemic to provide the Northern Gila County residents with a place to go for testing for COVID at any given time, as well as provide space for our contact tracers to continue the work required by our ELC grant. The funding for all of this comes from the $1.6 million that we received back in April of 2020. We still have a couple $100,000 left of that grant. So the funding for this comes from that grant, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christensen, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. O'Driscoll. And I just want to add a personal note of thanks for all that you have done and your staff has done, your team, and the whole mechanism for this COVID crisis. And I just want to thank you. We are the envy of the nation, and I'm proud to be a part of that, or at least a witness to it.
Great. Thank you very much, Supervisor.
So I understand what we're doing. I don't know if I have any questions. There was a company called Embry Health in town, in Payson, I should say, that was giving testing. I don't know if they're continuing. Do you know?
They have a contract with the state health department, so they're a standalone company that's offering that. We have them down in Globe as well. I believe in the next several months that they'll be probably packing up and leaving Gila County, probably because the state contract will run out.
Okay.
So they are located over by the park, and they do provide testing right now. And what will happen is we'll transition over to this location, and we'll be able to do walk-in testing for the people of the residents in northern Gila County. So we'll sort of take the place of Embry Health.
Okay. And how long is this lease?
This is a one-year lease.
Okay.
I will tell you that we were notified about a month ago that we're going to get a large chunk of money through the ELC grant again, probably in excess of $800,000. So we may extend this lease next year for an additional year because the ELC grant is tied to very specific deliverables, and this is one of those deliverables. So once we receive that funding and go through it very, very carefully, this lease may be extended, but that's not for probably 6 to 8 months in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. O'Driscoll.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Michael, I really didn't have any questions. I just wanted to thank you and your staff and everybody that's been involved with this pandemic and for all your help and what you guys have done. You guys have been awesome. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Supervisor.
The only question I had was how long the lease was, and you've already answered that. And I also want to say thank you very, very much for your professionalism through all of this and leading the charge. And so I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you. I've had a wonderful staff to help me through this. So they did the bulk of the lifting. So I'm very appreciative of my entire team. So thank you very much.
Great. Okay, on that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to approve a lease agreement between Azatol 3 LLC and the Gila County Health Department as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Item was unanimously accepted. Okay, 4G, information discussion action to approve amendment number 2 to an intergovernmental agreement contract number DI20-002263 between the Arizona Department of Economic Security and the Gila County Community Service Department to increase the case management service reimbursement ceiling to $524,199.75 and increase the community service reimbursement ceiling to $538,293.19 for a period of July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 to provide continued community action program services. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Chairman Humphrey and members of the board. Supervisor Klein, Supervisor Christensen, thank you. I'm asking you today to approve this amendment. This is approximately $152,000 that we're adding to our budget under the Community Action Program. We've been seen a big increase in those requesting. It'll probably go down now for some of those that get the stimulus checks, and then we'll advertise again, and then they'll say, oh, okay, and they'll come back to us, and we'll help with the utilities and rent. There is also another pot of money that might be coming, but that will probably be an extra pot. That'll probably be more like July or in a few months. So anyway, this is for utilities and rent and case management.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christensen, questions?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. You did not anticipate needing this money, and now you see that you do. Is that
All right.
fair to say?
Yes, this last year has been just a game changer for everybody, and I would imagine every director in the county would tell you that to a certain degree. Our low-income population comes to us for rent and utilities. The utilities, APS, except for San Carlos Irrigation, which is a little bit towards Hayden-Winkelman area, we have APS all over the county, Arizona Public Service. So they stopped disconnecting for a short time, or for a long time actually, about 8 months, so that they were sending people their utility bills, but they weren't disconnecting. So now we have some large bills that people are, and frankly, you know, they were laid off, there were changes in their household, so that was, to a certain degree, the last thing on their mind, trying to pay rent and trying to just manage this whole situation. So now that, so we have some extra dollars for that, we have larger bills, people coming in with very large bills. For our area, $800 to $1,500 to $2,500 we've seen. So we're mixing and matching and trying to use the different fund sources we have for those utility payments and to help them, because APS is starting to actually shut off people now.
So now back in Washington, they're trying to spend money like crazy, and do we get any of that for
We have.
this COVID relief?
Some of this is from the last stimulus bill that was done, and I do expect more in the future. I'm not sure how much more. You know, we're a small county, so I have to keep pounding on the doors to get them to remember us. So,
Okay.
but now Michael's helped that, so everybody knows Gila.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Melissa, good job. So this extra 150,000 is coming from the state, right?
Yep. Yep.
Good deal. And you're right. There's gonna, since they signed that one, what was it, $1.9 trillion package, Gila County is gonna be looking at a chunk of money coming here fairly soon, it looks like. So, and I think to Mr. Christensen's point, we never run out of demand there for utilities and rent and stuff like that. And very seldom, I don't know if we've ever had enough money just to cover
We never
what
have.
we needed.
We usually can, the amount of money that I get from my program and those services are usually run between 7 to 12% of those eligible in our county. So, yeah, we generally run out.
So thank you very much, and it's going to be very needed, I'm sure. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Melissa, thank you very much. Appreciate all you do.
Thank
Very
you.
much. And so I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion to approve amendment number 2 to an intergovernmental agreement, contract number DI 20-002263.
I will second that motion.
Having a motion, a second, all in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Item was approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, 4H, information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 21-03-02 in support of a grant application submitted to Tono Apache Tribe by the Pine Strawberry Fire District, PSFD, authorizing Gila County to act as a physical agent for the PSFD and accepting funds in the amount of $15,000 for the Tono Apache tribe on behalf of the PSFD. Mary Springer, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members, supervisors. I'm the messenger here, and as you can see on the screen, we have Chief Wisner from the Pine Strawberry Fire District. He's kind of moved since the last time we were here. He was at Hell's Gate, so now he is the new chief, and he is still looking for dollars through these gaming grants. So this first one is asking your approval of a resolution or adoption of the resolution to accept $15,000 from the Tonto Apache tribe. And I'll turn it over to Chief Wisner to give you more details.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, perfect. I just want to start briefly and welcome Supervisor Christensen. It's my first opportunity to welcome him to the Board of Supervisors. So
Thank you.
welcome, sir.
Thank you.
As Mary said, again, this resolution is very important to the fire district, that it be passed so that we could use this generous grant money given by the Tono Apache tribe we're going to use it to replace some much needed fire hose and equipment on our fire engines. So it's very important to us, and we thank you very much for your prior willingness to help fire districts in the county. My prior organization I was with, I'm now with Pine Strawberry. You can expect to see me actively seek out grants funding for that fire district as well. And this is the first one of those. So I really appreciate the Board of Supervisors' willingness to help fire districts in this way by being willing to pass through these funds in the past. We can't get directly funded by gaming grants. It has to pass through a city, town, or county. And so I urge you to pass this resolution, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christensen, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Supervisor Klein, any questions?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay, and I have none, so I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 21-03-02.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion, a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, unanimous. Okay, then we go to 4I, information discussion action to adopt resolution number 21-03-04 in support of a grant application in the amount of $51,300 that is being submitted to the Gila River Indian Community by the Pine Strawberry Fire District, PSFD, authorizing Gila County to act as a physical agent for the PSFD and agreeing to accept funding for the Gila River Indian Community from the Gila River Community on behalf of the PSFD. Mary Springer, you're on again.
Thank you, Mr.
Now that
Chairman.
I got all that out.
Members, supervisors, each tribe has a different process. And in this process for the Gila River Indian Community, they want to see a resolution from our board saying that we will act as the pass-through agents. And again, Chief Wisner is here to give you the details of this grant application.
Good morning, Chief.
Okay, and thanks once again. This is a particularly important grant to us. This grant, if we're selected, will be used to buy 2 state-of-the-art heart monitors that will be placed on our frontline ambulances. Right now, some of our monitors are older. They're no longer supported by the manufacturers, and this is a great opportunity for us to get those heart monitors replaced. They run about $33,000 each. So the actual cost for the project will be closer to $66,300, and we're asking the Gila River Indian community for $51,300, a portion of that, and the fire district will match the rest. So, like Mary said, in some cases, getting the Board of Supervisors to recognize this grant project and support it up front in a resolution puts us in a higher standing and a better opportunity to get funded for the grant. So, again, I urge you to pass this resolution.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Supervisor Christensen?
I'm just curious, why didn't you ask for the full 66,000?
Well, we actually have some funding put aside for heart monitors. In this case, $15,000 a year, but as you can see, it would take us about 4 years to purchase them outright, or we would have to go to some sort of a lease purchase program and then pay our $15,000 along with some interest. So with this grant opportunity out there, we thought by putting up our $15,000 that we budgeted, we won't be supplanting that budget in any way if the grant's awarded. It also might give us a higher standing in their review process because we have some skin in the game. So that's why we went with that amount.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I'm good, thank you. So I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make the motion to adopt resolution number 21-03-04.
I will second that.
Having a motion, a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Item was approved.
Thank you, and thank you, Chief Wisner.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda number 5, consent agenda action items. Any matter of the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed and voted upon as a regular agenda item upon the request of any members of the Board of Supervisors. Does anyone care to remove anything from the consent agenda action items this morning?
Not I, sir.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good. Just a comment on A and B. It's good to see we're still getting interest in that, and I beat you to the punch, Tim.
You beat me to the punch, and there again, I'm glad to see these homeless places find a home. Very, very good. Okay, thank you very much, Missy and Marion, for doing that. It's great to see them pretty much every meeting that we have anymore. Okay, then, if there's no further questions, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve, underlined, consent agenda items 5A through 5F.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion, a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Items was approved. Okay, number 6, call to the public. Do we have anyone in Payson that cares to address the Board of Supervisors this morning?
No, sir.
Do we have anyone in Globe? I see no one. Do we have anyone on the broadcast? No one from there. Okay, then I'll go on to number 7. At any time during the meeting pursuant to ARS 38-431.02K, members of the Board of Supervisors and the county manager may present a brief summary of current events. No action may be taken. Supervisor Christensen, how are you this morning? Do you have something?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple things. This last Saturday, was able to attend an event that Lori Brown and her team conducted on her property at Brownsville, a gymkhana, and enjoyed it very much. Spent a couple hours there, and really fine event. Really appreciate the fact that we're helping her, supporting her in that. The building in Payson is coming right along. I believe it's ahead of schedule. Homero was talking to me this morning about how it's supposed to be done and moving in by the end of the year. And so that's fantastic. The stem walls are going up right now. I'm going to be on K-Rim tomorrow with Randy Roberson at 10 o'clock. And had a good meeting, long meeting with Gary Morris, who is the Republican chairman of the club up there, regarding a presentation he made on the Fossil Creek recreational area that is quite a difficult problem with people being hurt and needing rescue, and the time it takes to do that, and roads closed, and dealing with the Forest Service. And so I'm taking up the reins with him on that to try and get that resolved.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Klein.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And thank you for jumping in there on Fossil Creek. That's a big one. We had a cleanup day here, almost a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half ago. Irene's Wash out there just up out Pinal Creek. It went really well. Is during the week we didn't have as much turnout as we'd like, but we went ahead and rescheduled another one for the 27th of March, and that'll be on a Saturday. So we're hoping to get some more folks. I really want to thank the landfill for helping us with the dumpster and all that, and so that was really good. And then on Thursday, March 11th, I know you guys have been watching it in the papers and everywhere about resolution fighting its way, trying to get through this process, this EIS process. So I was on a Zoom meeting with Mayor Mila down there in Superior, and it was called Mining Matters Summit. And it was an event organized by the mayor to support Resolution Copper and Capstone, both of them, in this EIS process. So they're both going through the process. They're real close to finishing it, and they're getting fought pretty hard on this. A lot of participation on this meeting. Other supervisors from Pinal County were on it, mayors and everybody else. The fact of the matter is Resolution has been going through this process for a very long time, and they've been a huge support of Gila County. What they'll bring to Gila County, if it's lost, is really going to hammer us. They drafted a letter that was sent back to D.C. to support Resolution and Capstone. I signed on to that letter as District 3, and so it's going to continue. The fight's not over. It's going to continue. I don't really know where it's going to lead or really for sure what the outcome's going to be. But I wanted to throw out something on the floor today, was just maybe here in the near future we can look at a proclamation from the county to support this, because we're going to take a huge hit if they're beat back, and there's going to be a lot of jobs lost between Gila County and Pinal County. So hopefully somewhere along the way we can bring that up and talk about. Last Friday I met with Gerald Altaha, councilman from White Mountain Apaches. He came to Pleasant Valley and spent the afternoon with me there. And what we talked about, one was they're looking at a new police department over there in White River. So they're going to be looking for grant monies and things like that to try and build this new building for their police department to a tune of about $6 million. He's looking for support, letters of support and stuff like that on that building. Also, back about 5 years ago when I came into office, we had a big issue in Carrizo Creek over there, drinking water. And it was a huge problem. We jumped in there and went to work with it. Congressman O'Halloran stepped in and took it over and was going to help them out and get things going. Never really materialized. Resolution Copper stepped up to the plate and went to work with an outfit called Source Global. And what they're looking at doing on about 33 residents, I think, 40 residents in there, is there's a deal they can go in on top of their roofs, almost like solar panels. And what it does is it collects the moisture out of the air and turns it into water that comes into a filtration type system, and it gets stored away. It'll produce like 6 or 8 gallons of water a day, and it can store up to quite a few gallons. Resolution has stepped up to the plate to support this and put this on like 30 or 40 houses to the tune of about $100,000. And so I was real happy to see that. Those people out there have been just hit hard with their drinking water issues. So that was good. Every Friday, basically, I'm on a call every morning, the LPC, and we go over bills. And we talk about bills and what's coming through the House, what we're going to support, what we're not going to support, on and on. There's a particular bill coming through right now. It's House Bill 2706, and it's going to, what that does is in the state, it's going to bring on up to about 12 new veteran benefits officers. Right now, there's 4 or 5 counties that doesn't have a veteran benefit officer. And this will bring the money into the state or basically to the counties. We are one of those counties. And so we share one of these individuals from, I think it's Graham County comes up. And so we see that individual once a month or whatever it is, and it's never enough. And so that is going to come up before the Senate Appropriations Committee today at 2 o'clock. And it's getting pretty close. But if anybody feels like they want to support that, you can sign on to speak on the House and do that and sign up for it. It would be a really good deal to have it done. Also, as a reminder, the summer work program is getting close. The dates we're looking at June 7th through July 16th. Kathy and had went out and sent the emails out last week to the towns and cities. 4 out of the 6, it looks like, has responded to participate again. So we'll be looking at trying to put that back together and get our kids going again, which would be a really good thing. We always look forward to that. It's a lot of work, but it's really beneficial to our communities. And so we're looking for that. This morning, Mr. Christensen, you'd be interested in this one. I participated on a Zoom call with a supervisor from Coconino County, Supervisor Hortzman and Patrice Hortzman. Really nice lady. She just took office. She's in there. We talked about the WIR stuff and all that. She wants to get on the WIR committee. But also we talked about things between us and Gila County, like the Blue Ridge Reservoir and how we can work together to try and protect that as best we can. And on Fossil Creek, we talked about that. But one thing I wanted to pass along to you, Steve, is that particular district on the Coconino above you, the new supervisor is Supervisor Begay, Judy Begay. Used to be Jim Parks. But anyway, I believe they're going to be reaching out to contact you. So just to let you know.
Thank you.
Good conversation, really nice lady. She has a big interest in everything that's going on, and I bet we'll see more of them. That's it.
Okay, good. Yes.
I apologize. For some reason, my computer decided to do a reboot and an update. So I'm still waiting, so if we could just wait 1 more minute till I can get back online.
Okay, so are we going to have to ask Supervisor Klein to go again?
No.
I'm kidding.
I can do that. I can add to it too.
Okay, yeah, no, I just thought I'd lighten it up a little bit. We are waiting for a computer to boot, not to boot a computer.
Not yet.
It's snowing.
Ain't that nice?
Mhm.
I hope it keeps it up all day.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't happen, but it did. Yeah.
It's Judy Begay with the Yavapai.
Coconino. Yeah. Yeah, Coconino. Did you know that Liz Archuleta went to work for Department of Ag in DC?
I think I heard that, yes.
Yeah. So she's up there now. So that gives us a pretty good tie to Arizona, I mean, I hope.
Yeah, as long as they don't tie her hands.
Oh, yeah. And that could happen.
We've had some good representation, but they can't do anything with their hands tied, you know?
No. No.
Yeah, that place is a mess up there. I don't see me going for a while. Even if they did open it.
Yeah, Gerald was wanting to go out there and talk about some tribal stuff, and I'm like, how you going to get through the fences? I don't know if they're even going to let you through the gate anymore, right? No? One more thing for you, too, is I didn't put on there, but Lorenzo Gonzalez there in town. Do you know him, Steve? The vet?
Yes, I do. Isn't he kind of retired? Or?
He's wanting to awful bad. But he has got some old, I don't know what kind of trailers they are, if they're fifth wheel type trailers, but abandoned trailers. And I don't know if they're in your district or mine, and I really don't care which side they are, but he's wanting somebody to go clean them up and throw them away.
Well, where are they?
I don't know.
Clean them up and throw them away. Are they like live-in trailers, horse trailers?
I kind of get the impression in the visual picture that they're maybe like abandoned homeless type trailers, like little junker trailers parked out under a tree somewhere kind of deal.
And
Maybe
that's
even,
on his property?
No, I don't know where at around Payson. I just got word on that, and I haven't reached out to him, so I don't know if you want to.
We'll get a hold of the homeless coalition. They're looking for some
Might do that.
to move homeless in. And if they
We just go find who moved out and move them back.
Yeah, no, but I guess they got a bunch of property down at Lori Brown's to put trailers on.
Is
In
that
Rye.
going through?
In Rye.
And so, in Rye, so if there's a bunch of trailers that he's wanting to,
I think
maybe
there's
they
like
could just
2,
haul
3,
them down.
4, something
Yeah.
like that.
If they're just abandoned, they could probably get an abandoned title on them.
Don't know what kind of shape or if they're even worth moving, but
Okay,
you know,
I'll give him a call.
yeah, if you need help, holler with it or
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and if it's something, yeah, I can help with, let me know. Because I know they wanted a list of the tax delinquent trailers, and there's hundreds of them in Gila County. And we can foreclose upon them, but why if we don't have a home for them?
is that through? That's the those would be through MVD, right? State, still the state, but
Yeah, state, but I know the modular homes that are tax delinquent, we can foreclose on them. And then just put them up for auction. But some of them are on private property, some of them are in good shape, some of them are bad, I don't know. But I gave them a list, so they can do the investigation on the list. And if they find one, we can foreclose on it, put it up for an auction where they can buy it. But I wasn't going to look through a list of 100 to see where they are. Is there good ones, bad
I can
ones?
take up a month of Sundays on that deal.
Yeah.
You know.
Marion, question: Could Could we do a motion to go into an executive session and then come back? Okay. Okay, that's all right. I just thought I'd ask. Okay.
Do you want my notes for everything I just said? You're good? Okay. It's kind of scribbled, some
You
of it.
got all that on one page?
Yeah. I did.
Just the abbreviation. Okay, everybody, we are back. We finally got that computer booted. Okay, and I believe Supervisor Klein had just finished, and prior to me, I usually forget the county manager, whom is not here today, but represented by Homero Villa. Do you have anything to share with us today?
Yes, just a comment. Earlier today, we heard Mary. Thank you. Talk about our financials. And she basically, the summary is revenues are on target to budget and exceed previous year by 1.8 million. And then expenditures are below budget and lower than the previous year by almost $1 million. Both of them very positive signs. But what's not stated, implied but not stated, is that just like Michael O'Driscoll is doing, is putting the county on the map based on the performance of vaccination performance, there's many organizations in the county that are really doing outstanding work during this COVID year. There had been no lapse in our services to our community this entire time. We provided the services that we need to provide it, and various organizations have shown the level of performance in the last 12 months to the board, and you can relate to that. And I'm just trying to say that when you put the two together, exceptional performance on the finance side and exceptional performance on the service side, I think it's cause for all of us to be proud here in Gila County. And that's the one comment I just wanted to share.
Thank you very much, Homero. That's a great comment. For me, I'm just doing my community meetings again now that COVID's backed off, and held a Gila community meeting, a Roosevelt community meeting. I had a conference with Todd Boffman, our lobbyist down at the Capitol, to kind of keep up on going what Gila County is needed and what our representatives need to hear down there on a pretty regular basis. Participated in a workshop with the Gila County Transit Governance Study for transportation, participated in an RTAC meeting, and I'll hold a pre-fire season meeting on April 12th. And I believe that's about all that I have today. So I guess we will look at motion to go into executive session. No? Uh-oh. What? Okay. Executive session 8. Information, discussion, action. Vote to go into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431-03A3 and 4 to discuss settlement negotiations in Southwest Gas Corporation and California Corporation versus Arizona Department of Revenue and Agency of the State of Arizona, counties of Cochise, Gila, Graham, Greenlee, La Paz, Maricopa, Mojave, Pima, Pinal, and Yuma, each of which is a political subdivision of the state of Arizona, TX 2020-001122.
And Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to convene into executive session as stated in agenda item 8A.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Having a motion second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. 5-minute break. See you in executive session. Okay, I will reconvene the meeting after executive session and call for motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to consent to the settlement offer regarding tax court case number TX 2020-001122 as presented by the Arizona Attorney General.
And I'll second that motion.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, then it was passed, and so with that done, I will adjourn today's meeting. Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Chairman.